It's overnight on 3AW and it's high time we talked media, and that means Nick Hayes. Good morning, Nick.
Oh, Mr. Mclaren, it's a very, very good morning to you. How are you travelling today?
Pretty well. How's the weather in your part of Australia? WA, of course.
22 degrees. We're running around in shorts and singlet. How's it over there?
Oh, not quite. Give us a couple of months and we'll be able to join you in those shorts and singlets. I've just got a mental image of you in them too. And
well, look, you'll let me help you get rid of that with some discussion in media.
Yes, indeed. Plenty's there. Channel 10, can we start with?
Oh, Channel 10. You know I love talking Channel 10. I almost think I should be almost on Channel 10's payroll.
What, are you looking for some sort of consultancy, are you?
Well, I don't know. It just seems that everything seems... you know what I think it might be? I think the fact that 7 and 9 is almost identical in everything that it does, that I swoon to Channel 10. But no, look, I'm not trying to get any work from them. I suppose the main focus has been that Channel 10 won the ratings last week, Andrew.
Doesn't happen that often for 10, does it?
It happens so rarely that you probably got a better chance of jumping outside and seeing Halley's Comet going around. It's probably in that sort of once every 80-odd years. But look, no, it is a rarity. Channel 10 does struggle quite a bit. In fact, so much so that it's almost the bottom rating network that we do have. And
well, what did it for them?
They've done extremely well. The Commonwealth Games, I think when we first talked about it, you asked me whether they were going to do any good. I suggested possibly not. But I have been put back in my box. They've done very, very well. Well,
I think a fairly good result from the Australians, albeit, not as high as previous games, but I suppose that would have a lot to do with it.
Oh, there is. Look, they were winning golds. They were doing very well. It was a very good broadcast. Channel 10 did an exceptional job on the broadcast. I think that they had the right commentators. They had the right people around. They were doing everything spot on. And also, too, they had a very tough time slot to be working with, but they delivered. And, look, so did Australia. And there is already suggestions there that Australia hasn't done as well and that there were expectations that they should have won more gold medals. In the last lot of Commonwealth Games, we haven't, or we very rarely go down to England. And in this case, we have. And there'll be questions raised about our performance and how well we are going leading into Rio.
They, of course, were helped in a sense by some of the dramas of the Commonwealth Games too. I guess there was a little bit of an undercurrent with some of the events because of the coach.
Oh, Eric Hollingsworth. Let's just say a fool. There's not much you can actually say about him. He just raised attention on Sally Pearson, the captain of the team, in a way that it just didn't work. And look, he was cast out. And it raised a lot of drama. It brought a lot of it together and brought the team together, which was fantastic. And it added that little extra piece that I suppose the Commonwealth Games was looking for.
Indeed. And Sally Pearson really rallied, didn't she? Considering what her background was and all that drama beforehand. Beautiful performance by her. One of the great runs. And, I personally got up to watch it myself. And there's many other Victorians, Queenslanders, Sydney-siders all got up to watch. It was probably the key moment of the Games. Look, excuse me, got a bit of the lurgy there, Andrew. One of the great things, I suppose, is that when you are under pressure and when there is a lot of things going around and she could answer the only way she could answer, it was just a great result. And look, hats off to her. She did fantastic. And what a great games altogether. The Australian Institute of Sport may have the daggers out and have a look and the microscope out to have a look at a few of the sports that didn't perform very well. But let's have a look at the positive side and the sports that we did extremely well. The cycling was outstanding. I think we got nearly close to 19 medals there. The shooting, the boxing, it was just a great games all round. And you know what? If we don't beat England every single time, as long as we beat them in the Ashes, all right, as long as we beat them in rugby, I don't care. Fair enough. What is just a side issue? You haven't really flagged this at all, but what do you think of the young girl, the Australian athlete who got up on the stage at the end of the last night?
What a Dawn Fraser moment.
Yes.
What a great. I mean, that's only an Australian could go away and do. I'm a little bit worried about the security, but she was a 25-year-old athlete. It was her birthday. She saw Kylie Minogue and said, "Hey, I'm going to get up and have a boogie." Look, I've just got to put that down to, I hope she doesn't get into too much trouble, the poor darling.
No, I do wonder about that, yes, and wonder if she will get stern words. MasterChef did quite well at the end too. It finished up strongly for 10, didn't it?
Oh, it did extremely well, and that was, you know what, that was sort of almost that perfect storm for Channel 10 in that they were able to get those big shows together, and The Bachelor, Andrew, The Bachelor during the week started, and it got the numbers that got Channel 10 over the line. It wasn't just the Commonwealth Games, it was shows like The Bachelor.
Good Lord, I couldn't sit through it. I think it's the shocking meat market of a show.
When they first asked me to go on the program, I said, look, I'm sorry, I'm committed to the work that I currently do, and if I go on The Bachelor, I may not get to speak to Andrew Mclaren next week.
No, there was always that problem for you, wasn't there? Well, hopefully next season, you know, if time permits.
I lost my
and also, if your wife,
a long time ago.
Yes, I was going to say,
listening into this now, I very well might make myself in the line for a bachelor.
We better get on to other topics. And Twiggy Forrest has certainly raised the feathers, hasn't he, a bit with his suggestions of how welfare payments should be made.
Oh, there is nothing like a billionaire telling us how we should spend our money. Or should spend the government's money. There's something there that doesn't really fit too well with the Australian public. But surprisingly, Andrew, they did rally behind Andrew Forrest. Middle Australia got right behind Andrew Forrest and said, you know what, Andrew's got a bit of a point here. We go away and give billions of dollars in welfare to people, and there is almost no responsibility or expectations on what they go away and do with that money. Do they go away and spend it on cigarettes? Do they go away and spend it on booze? Do they go away and just flaunt it on drugs, etc.? Now, there might be a small percentage of the community that goes away and does this, but Andrew Forrest and his ideas there are pretty much set to be very broad brush approach to the welfare system.
I know. I just do think that he has been pilloried in some quarters a bit too much. I think his intentions are honourable, despite the fact he's a billionaire, and of course he's able to preach from a lofty high. But I think he has seen situations in the areas where his mines are and all that, where of a complete waste of welfare money, and I suppose he's reacted to that.
Look, Andrew Forrest is. I've had the pleasure of shaking the man's hand and been to a dinner where he has spoken. And look, he is fantastic. He is very philanthropic. He has given millions upon millions of dollars away. He's worked very well with the Aboriginal communities and has a track record and history with this. There's no doubting this, Andrew. I'm not castigating or putting Andrew Forrest down at all. I suppose where this is all coming from is that when a gentleman like Andrew Forrest puts this forward, a white paper, an idea, a concept, this is an opportunity where Australia does get to debate and talk about this, particularly on talkback radio, in mediums like we are doing right now, and it gets us talking, it gets us thinking about it. But this is also an opportunity for the government now to gauge the kind of response that if something like this was put forward, what's going to happen.
I thought Abbott's response was pretty much no when he was questioned about it. He never said the words no, but I got a feeling that it would take a lot for him to ever enact that sort of legislation.
It would be political suicide for him to go away and do that now, especially considering only 5 days earlier he told every job seeker, you have to go away and put out 40 job applications per month and do a certain amount of community service. Now, Andrew, when I came out of university and was applying for jobs, I applied for probably 20 jobs a month, and it was a full-time job just doing that.
It is. It's exhausting, isn't it, actually?
It's exhausting,
yes,
and also, too, what it does to the psyche and the amount of resources that you have to use to do that.
Can I tell you, I once got a rubber stamp reject. I got my letter back, my CV letter, that's what we sent in those days, there was no emailing, and I got back a little rubber stamp on top of my letter, my words, just saying, your application has been rejected. And some little squiggle in the corner of it.
I used to keep those application rejections as a little bit of a motivation to get me that little bit further, because I figured the higher the pile rises, the closer I'm getting to that job.
That's a good way of looking at it. Yeah, that's one way. How long did it take you to get a job, by the way?
I probably was applying for a good 3 months.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all. It can be tough getting on that first rung of the ladder, can't it?
It is a tough gig, and also, too, it's demoralising, too, when you get so many rejections. But maybe I shouldn't have been applying for the Attorney General's job.
We might have been reaching a little high, do you think?
I might have been reaching a little bit. But, Andrew, that breaks into a whole different subject with what the Prime Minister was pushing out. When he asked everyone to put out 40 job applications, as a small business owner, if I was to receive, because everyone's now got a quota of job applications that they have to put in, and I would put out, let's say, a new job that's coming up at Media Stable, and I get 150 applications, of which 145 of them are just trying to meet their quota. It's a lot of work at my end that I have to go through just to sort out the next person that I want.
The wheat from the chaff, I know, that's a good thought. I hadn't thought of it from the employer's point of view, no.
Well, there's not a lot of brains going on at government. I think they need to go away and start listening to this program a little bit closer and start employing some of our ideas.
Very well said. And we live in hope of that happening. We'll finish off, Nick, with the very sad story of Gammy.
Yeah, look, I don't want to go into this too deep, because it is quite emotional, and also too, in the media we tend to jump to conclusions about all sorts of things, and this one is one that's going to be particularly hard to digest, but a surrogacy that has sort of potentially gone wrong, where the mother in Thailand has given birth to twins, and only one of the babies was taken, and the other baby obviously has very serious health issues and problems. Look, that story's coming more to light now. The family seems to have been come from Western Australia, and they are now saying that they were completely unaware that there was twins.
That claim has been refuted too by Surrogacy Australia groups.
Correct. There's lots of different people who are going to all put their claims in, and to be truthful, I mean, until they actually find out exactly what is going on, it's such a tough one. But I would just say that the number one priority here is the welfare of the two children, and also too that raises the debate around surrogacy and also the emotional issue that is involved in this about having children and not being able to have children. It's one that it's going to raise this debate big time over the next couple of weeks, and just hopefully it's more about the children that we're going to be talking about and their welfare, not so much those that pick and choose children at a whim. And I don't think this is necessarily the case, but I think there's a lot more to be told, and hopefully we can find out more over the next coming days.
Indeed, yes, Nick, that's very true. Thank you very much for your time as always, Nick, and I'll leave you to see what you can do at Channel 10 as far as some sort of very well-paid consultancy.
Well, I might just put my application in for next year's Bachelor. I'm going to have to start hitting the gym now. I'll have to have a chat with my wife first.
Yeah,
so.
I think that's the first step, yes. Speak to the good Mrs. Hayes. Dear. Nick, thank you very much.
Talk next week.
Talking Media with Nick Hayes overnight on 3AW.
Ross